Hi there, my name's Dean Johnson. This is my vlog number 2, and I'm going to talk to you about Thompson's article, Can White Heterosexual Man Understand Oppression? First thing I want to bring up is kind of the title of the article, Can White Heterosexual Man Understand Oppression? And I think they can, because he's a white heterosexual man, and he said he was able to understand it. And I personally believe that I can understand it at least somewhat, maybe not completely because we're not in those person's shoes, but I do think we can try to understand the point of view at which they're coming from, and kind of look at the world around us in a different light, just to see where they're coming from. One of the things he talks about was making sexist jokes and not some of the problems his coworker was facing in the workplace, even though she was kind of trying to state them. And I don't think that we all really run into as many of those problems, or that we're all as oblivious to those problems as we think we are. I think we all maybe notice them even though we don't consciously say it. Because if you look back and really be like, you know, the girls who work with me, do they get paid as much as I do? Are they treated the same way as I am? Usually they undergo some kind of oppression, because at least in my field of work, computer science, we definitely have a lot less girls over there. So when they are there, there's a little more at least sexual jokes going around or whatever. But that's just my point of view, and I'm sure men also get a lot of jokes going towards them when they're nurses at a hospital as well. It's just kind of how our society sees things. But overall, I do think we can understand it, at least somewhat, and try to look at it from their point of view. But I really want to dissect some of these barriers to change he mentions. The first one he mentioned was lack of information from the experience of oppression. I don't know, maybe this article was written a long time ago, but in school they tried to teach me a lot about discrimination and oppression against different minorities and races. And, you know, against women, and I mean, even men have been discriminated against at some points as well. But I do believe that it's very apparent, especially in our history classes. They go through all the things that everyone's gone through, and that really, I just think that we have been given a lot of information about experiences of oppression. Second barrier was belief that we, the dominant group, have a market on the truth. Well, because truth is subjective, I think we all kind of see it in our own way. I don't think there's one true truth, because everyone, like I said, sees it in their own way, but I guess I can kind of agree that we're a little more, we're pretty arrogant, at least, and we've been taught that we should, that we're right as white men. Barrier number 3, fear of offending members of oppressed groups and fear of their anger. I think the only time that I've noticed that I've really been able to anger them is when you try to put yourself above them, or you act as if you're above them, like, oh, I understand, or maybe it's not necessarily being above them, but when you try to act as if you know exactly what someone's going through, I think that always frustrates them, when they believe that no one else really does. And you can't really know their exact points of view because you aren't them, or what they've gone through. So that's barrier number 3. I can agree with it for the most part, but just because we have that fear doesn't mean we can't try to work through it together as a race, or as a culture. Barrier number 4 was belief that white heterosexual and male is being better than colored homosexual or female. I don't agree with that at all. Although I guess it's maybe taught to us subconsciously through movies and whatnot. You know, the bad guys usually, not usually, but in a lot of movies, bad guys are not the white men. Unless you go to watch some of the foreign movies, which really is strange, or it's true, I guess, in some ways. But in any case, yeah, I don't believe that being white, heterosexual, and male is better than being anything else. I would like to believe that I treat everyone equally, and do my best to have as little prejudice as I can towards anyone. But those are just some of the things I was thinking regarding to that article. And then as for the Brené Brown's Power of Vulnerability, what really sprung to me was when she was talking about numbing emotion and how we can't selectively numb emotion. I just wanted to talk about numbing with vulnerability. I mean, if someone gets hurt, they usually try to numb certain parts of the emotion, but what I kind of wanted to bring up with that is how people try to get rid of all the symptoms of the problems they're having, such as if you're feeling sad, they try to get rid of the sadness rather than trying to get rid of what causes the sadness. And I think that's one of the big problems in our society, is that we don't work towards removing the problem, we don't work towards fixing the problems that are causing the reactions. Like, let's say someone gets beat up as a kid, so when they get older they end up beating their own kids, which I don't approve of course. But it's just, we need to try to work people through their problems. I don't know where I was going with that. That was a bad example, but overall we do need to work on fixing people's like root problems rather than fixing symptoms. Hopefully you understand where I was coming from with that. But yeah, thanks for watching.